Here to catch up on this week's matchups. But first, we have some breaking news to get to. I'm Yantis Green, and this is Live. The news is brought to you by Myers Boutique, which is located inside Myers Drug at the center of historic downtown San Angelo. And they're having a fall into fall sale today and tomorrow. That's September 16th and 17th, Friday and Saturday. Many items are on sale for up to 70% off. Also, you can enter the raffle for a girls' night out and a paint night. Enjoy free pumpkin spice latte and muffins. Myers Drug and Boutique is at the intersection of Beauregard and Chadbourn, or check out Myers at myersboutique.com. In local news, an 18-wheeler carrying an excavator crashed into the Main Street Bridge over Loop 306 in San Angelo Friday afternoon, shutting down westbound traffic while officials examine the bridge for stability. According to information from the Texas Department of Transportation, this time the Main Street Bridge over US 67 was hit this afternoon by an excavator loaded on a trailer that was being towed. US 67 westbound was down to one lane from Bell Street to Chadbourn as they assessed the damage. Both lanes westbound were eventually shut down. At the same time, while they were dealing with that, San Angelo police shut down traffic on Main Street across that bridge as a precaution. Some communications indicated there was also another minor crash on Main Street during that time. For more on that story, check it out on sanangelolive.com. The weather this weekend is looking like it's going to be beautiful. Over the next 7 days, highs will stay in the mid-90s. For tonight, Friday night lights action looks like there'll be clear skies. At kickoff, temperatures will likely be around 92 degrees in the lower 90s, and then the sunset with the sun setting around 7:45 p.m. Speaking of Friday night lights, the COVER1 crew of Matt Trammell and James Bellini are back for week 4 of the Texas high school football season. But first, here is a quick message from Tiemann Investments.
I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to help students maximize their potential. It's something that I'm good at. But planning for my financial freedom, that's something I leave for a professional.
That's why I chose to team up with the advisors at Tiemann Investments.
They not only understand me and my goals, but they understand the market, what's important now and in the future. They provided world-class advice right where I am, here in West Texas.
Connect with Tiemann Investments to visualize your financial dreams.
All right, welcome to the pregame show. It's the COVER1 pregame show brought to you by All-American Chevrolet. We're here to give you our picks, our analysts, our updates, the highlights of what we're going to get into, and everything else. But we can't do without all of our experts, and I got my other one right here, my handyman. This is James Bellini. James, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Matt. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. It's Friday night. It's about time for some football. Not yet, though, so time to get into it about who we think's going to win, what do we think's going to happen, talk about all the matchups. James, where do you want to start first?
I say we start about 20 miles south in Cristobal. Cristobal Cougars are taking on the Mason Punchers today. We're looking at a pretty good football game there. Cristobal's quarterback, I think, is still on the mend, Lohman, so Ablez will get the start. And Mason, kind of hard to find stats on Mason, but they're 2-1 and they're a pretty good squad. They've always been a pretty good team, so Cristobal has their hands full tonight.
Yeah, they do. The Mason Punchers, they always do one thing, and that's play good football. At least as long as Matt Trammell's been around the San Angelo area. When I first started covering football here in the Conto Valley, that was the best team in the state of Texas. Now, just because some things have mixed up over there doesn't mean that they don't produce those same quality athletes. I'm ready to see what the Punchers got, James. When you started researching this game, you talked about Cristobal's quarterback being out, but what are some of the other factors you saw when you're coming into this game?
One thing is Mason hasn't really played the best competition this year, but that's you gotta play who's on your schedule, obviously. And Cristobal's coming off a win. They seem to be playing pretty well with Ablez, and their running game has been on point last week as well.
All right. Well, I think that
you want to get to the
I think we might as well just go ahead and release our picks. So, James, we were kind of at odds, as we sometimes are. This was one of the ones that I thought would go a different way, but you went with your alma mater, the Cristobal Cougars. James, why?
Competition. Their competition. Looking at Mason, they've played Ozona and Brady. They haven't necessarily played the best competition. They're both if you combine them, they're 0-6. And Cristobal seems to be able to get things running. They got to run behind their big offensive linemen, Brock Ratliff, Sebastian Salinas, Nikolai Nelson. We had Otho on before, the head coach Otho on before the season even started. He talked about how Nikolai Nelson was coming in ready to play this year. And they seemed to be able to move the ball pretty well last week against Colorado City. And I expect them to move it pretty well. I do expect a really good game, though. It is going to be a really good game.
Yeah, the reason I decided to go with the Punchers this week, James, is because, the Cristobal Cougars are down not just one man, but their quarterback, their main man. So they're going to have to need to step up from all types of different places. The Punchers may have not had that tough schedule yet, but maybe this is one of those games that they want to kind of put themselves out there. Of course, Cristobal, they also have lost a game, so it's both 2-1s here.
You got to bring that up, Matt.
What's that?
You got to bring up the game they lost.
I mean, we got to. So, Cristobal, they're good, but I just think this week that the Mason Punchers, because of what Cristobal doesn't have, and that right now is a quarterback, I think that's going to kind of mix some things up, and that's why I rode with the Mason Punchers. Of course, if you look across the board, Jake, Yantis, Sam, Ernesto, Ryan went with you, James, but me and Joe, we went with the Punchers.
And the other 5 seem to have their head on straight. And look, I'm not taking anything away from Mason. I couldn't find stats on them, but they've always been a good ball club. Back when they had David Moore as running back, you probably remember them when they went to state. But they played Coleman, and they lost to Coleman 7-6, and Coleman's playing really good football this year. And again, you have to play who's on your schedule, obviously. You can't, pick and choose. And when you're picking games, sometimes you have to take who you can get,
Absolutely. All right. Well, that one was our very first. That was our first pick so far of the game, from the show, I guess. It was brought to you by Team and Investments, just like all these are. Don't forget, this is also brought to you by All-American Chevrolet of San Angelo, the Autoplex, and of course, our favorites at Angelo Bolt. All right, James, moving on to our next game. This one's going to be a good one. This one's a little bit outside of San Angelo, but we wanted to send our guy because we knew this one was going to be a good one. This one is going to be between the Miles Bulldogs and the Winners Blizzards. These two teams have been playing tough teams all year so far. Of course, Miles has been whooping on some teams, so we're thinking this might be the first true test for the Winners Blizzards. So we wanted to be there, James. I know you got some people in Winners. I know you talked to some people in Miles. What did you get from all that this week?
I talked to Jason Wilhelm earlier in the week, and when I brought up, hey, who are your players you're proud of, he named pretty much just his entire team, but he really brought up his quarterback, Haven Book, who has really taken that step forward. He was a sophomore last year, he's a junior this year. He's got 13 touchdowns and 1 interception, and he's got Dylan Garza, Tanner Wood, Carson Ellison. They've all just had big plays for him. They're a really good team. Winners, on the other hand, they played in some close games. They had an overtime game against El Dorado.
And that game, James, was wild. That was a dogfight all the way to the end. And if you can hold out on them dogfights and win, that kind of puts you a little up, would you think?
Yeah, no, and I'm not taking anything away from Winners. I think Winners is a good team. Even last week, I know they lost last week, but that game was back and forth. I think over our 2 shows, it was. TLC is up, then Winners was up, then TLC was up as we were watching the scores come in, and
all the way down to the very end.
Exactly. It was a full 48 minutes of football.
Yep. Yeah, and then the thing about Winners is they had that very first game against Cross Plains, and what we've seen that Cross Plains is a friggin' really good team, and so they've already played against some exceptional matchups and some really tough teams. So with me, I'm thinking that maybe this may be a chance for them to kind of prove some people wrong.
Miles has put up something crazy like 165 points this year. That averages out to 55 points a game, and they've only given up 21 points. So they've only given up, they've shut out 2 teams this year. They gave up 21 points to Sterling City. And
but the score was 56-21, so I think they won by still
they did come back to win it, but they were down at halftime, and Wilhelm said, "Oh, we're just tired of losing," and the players were getting on themselves before. Yep. So, and he said, "Bad teams don't have leaders. Good teams, coaches lead, and great teams, players lead." And that is a quote that's going to stick with me for a while. That's a good one from Jason Wilhelm up there in Miles.
All right, James, I'm going to go ahead and throw those picks on there for you. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. It looks like all across the board. You know, I talked to Big Hype. I said, "Oh, this is going to be a test for winners." Well, I still can't put my picks on the line. I do think that this winners team is good enough to beat Miles, but I just think that the Miles Bulldogs this year have a really, really good program, and they've been beating teams by a lot. So I think that is probably going to be the trend, and it's probably going to continue on tonight. But expect a really good game still.
No, I do expect a really good game. I expect winners to put up a good fight, because even though they're 1-2. They've been in some close ones, and they've been able to pull one out even against El Dorado, who's a pretty good team this year as well.
All right, yeah. And so this is it, of course, all the way across the board between Jake Yantis, Joe, Sam, Trammell, Ernesto, Ryan, and James. We all have the Winners Blizzards losing to the Miles Bulldogs, but hey, we are sometimes wrong. More times than not, it depends on me. I mean, right now I'm low in the pick standings.
I'm never wrong.
Of course, we didn't give you the update. I'll give you all an update on the pick standings, but just to let you know I'm second to last, so don't listen to Trammell.
Number 1 over here.
All right, moving on, James. Let's go ahead and get into it. Remember, guys, this is brought to you by All American Chevrolet. Go see them down there right off Bryant near the Loop, so go see them. Moving on to our next game. This game is going to be a good one as well. This one is going to be up in Midland and Grande Communications. It is the Midland Legacy Rebels versus the Steel Knights. James, perfect. I'm really excited about this one. This one right here is going to be a big game.
I'm excited for this one. When I first looked at I was like, oh, let's go Legacy. And then once I started really looking into it, Steel has a really good core of guys. Chad Warner, their quarterback, is 30 for 39, 670 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. The dude can play. Jaden Bailey at running back, he's got 58 carries, 375 yards, and 6 touchdowns. They can just make plays all across the field, and Legacy's the same way. Davila's playing well. He's got 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. Deontay Saunier, 330 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. This is just going to be a really good game. I think this is a really good matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high score, and I think if I had to set this over-under, it's got to be over 40 or maybe like 45, because both of these teams know how to score. Of course, we saw it over the last few weeks of Midland Legacy playing, but of course they had that down week against Amarillo Tascosa where they got beat pretty good. So that was probably their first test. This is like when you after you felt that good team, to come back and do like a checkpoint, to see how much you've improved from the Amarillo Tascosa week. I'm really excited to see what happens. I know Marcus Davila is killing it this year. He's only got 1 interception, so they're going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be letting it rain. So I'm excited. 2 big 6As battling it out. Can't be more fun than that.
Yeah, I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched up. I think this is a really good game, a pre-district game, and this is one of those pre-district games you're going to love because you're going to really find out who your team is coming out of this game. And they're pretty well balanced. They have about 600 yards rushing and about 700 yards passing. The Steel team. So yeah, this is gonna be a good game.
All right, James, I'm gonna put them picks up there for you because you were the only one that chose against the Midland Legacy Rebels. James,
Lone Wolf.
What's up? Why be the lone wolf? What did you see that made you say that's it? Legacy doesn't have this game.
I really didn't think like that when I picked this. I saw it and I just decided to go with Steel. I think Steel they look like they're playing really good football. We know what Legacy can bring, and I think it just kind of came down to being in that Austin, San Antonio area for Cibolo Steel, out West Texas. I think that's kind of why I shaded that way. I'm really looking forward to just a great game, though.
Perfect. A lot of the times when these big schools come down to West Texas, it's like, oh yeah, we get a cupcake game this week. We get to go down there and have an easy one, go for them West Texas boys. But this week, I think we got something a little bit different. I think that this Midland Legacy team is just as good as they were last year, but just a little more experienced. So I think that they took that loss against South Lake took that loss against Amarillo Tascosa, and I think that they're building these up to kind of build themselves up. Even though through the loss, that's how you get better and that's how you learn to win. I'm going with everybody else. I'm gonna pick the Rebels, but if the Knights do win, James, I'm not gonna be surprised, and I'm gonna hate it because that's just one more pick that you can get that I can't.
Look, I'm not gonna shade either. I think they're both tremendous teams. I think they're both gonna play really well. The Steel defense has 9 sacks, 5 interceptions. They're Mekhi Williams. He's got 48 total tackles on the year so far. Deontay Carter's got 2 interceptions back there. I think it's going to be a really good one. Chad Warner's a young quarterback still. He's playing really well. I just kind of think Steele's going to take it.
All right, and that was the matchup between Midland Legacy and the Steel Knights. Guys, always remember to check out this show. We also have one at halftime. That's going to be at 8 o'clock, and then we got, of course, the one at 10 o'clock. You can check all those out right here on StanfieldLive.com, on our Facebook, on our YouTube, anything. Also, our Twitter, we're going to be live there, too. Just to let you know, this is brought to you by All-American Chevrolet of San Angelo. Right here, All-American Chevrolet. Get the 2022 new Equinox. Look how good that thing looks. Wow. Only 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Go see them today. They can make you a great deal, whether it's on a trade-in, whether it's on just a new car. I mean, you got to go check them out. That's All-American Chevrolet. All-American Chevrolet. They are right there off of Bryant and about 8th Street. All right, moving on to our next one. James, we have a really good one in this one. Well, I don't want to say it's really good, but we put all these teams that usually win a lot of games on here. But this week, I decided I want to switch it up. I want to play the Toilet Bowl. That's right. 0-3 Ozona versus the 0-3 Grape Creek Eagles. Which team can win first? One of them has to do it. Will it be the Lions, James, or will it be the Eagles?
I think it's going to be Ozona. That's simply because of they've played Wink, who's a really good team. They have Mason, who's a good team, and I'm going to shade it their way. I wasn't able to find stats on Grape Creek, but Grape Creek, they have a good team. They seem to catch fire late. I'm not going to do what we did last year and get sent out to that game and have everybody give me the stink eye, Matt. But I'm excited. Ozona's got a good squad. I think they got a pretty good squad this year. They just kind of had a rough start to the schedule.
James, I'm going to use your own words against you, okay? We're talking about teams that have played good teams, right?
Yeah.
Who did Grape Creek play last week?
Who did Grape Creek play last week?
That would be the Cristobal Cougars.
That was week 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they played Cristobal, so you can't say that Grape Creek hasn't played those good teams. I think Grape Creek has, and I think that they haven't been blown out, so it's not like this is just a lopsided team here. I think this team, can get a little grit and they can make it happen. Of course, the team doesn't have a whole lot of legacy of winning. So when they do, you really got to be excited for it. And I think when you look at the schedule, I think this is one of those ones that you might be able to circle and say, we might be able to get out of here on a win. It's in Ozona, but don't worry, that's not that big of a drive.
No, that's not that far away. And I'm not discrediting Cristobal or anything, but Wink is a very good program. Mason, we talked about, they're a very good program. And you got Hudson Fowler down there at quarterback. He's got 440 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he seems to want to throw the ball. Dusty Smith seems to be their playmaker just at anywhere. He's at 177 rushing yards, 141 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns receivings. That's 318 total yards just from that one kid. I just feel like they kind of maybe have been on the wrong side of things somewhere. They've been competitive in most of the games they played.
Well, that may be true, but in my opinion, so have the Eagles. So the only thing we can find out is who will lose the game. That's how I want to say this. I don't want to say who wins this game because I feel like with these two teams, only wrong things can go right. You know what I'm saying? So it's whoever can capitalize on those mistakes going into it. I mean, I'm looking at this thing. I'm seeing 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I'm talking about he's only completed 18 passes. So, if you're playing like that, you're playing risky. And if you're going to play risky against 2 bad teams, that usually means who's ever worst last loses. So, in my opinion, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw these up here, I'm going to rock with the Grape Creek Eagles. That's right, go Creek. I'm going to go with Jake and Yantis, Joe, and Sam and Ernesto. We always think that we're on the Eagles side on this one, but James, you seem to always find a way to go against me or something. But
we had to have something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. But you and Ryan Chadwick went with the Lions.
Right.
You kind of explained it, but just give me a little bigger spiel.
Yeah, I'm not shading Tanner Thiel or his team at all. I think they're a senior heavy team. I think they won last year. I think they know how to win. Maybe they just kind of stumbled out of the gate and they just haven't learned how to win yet this season. And Ozona's just they've played some really good state-ranked teams, and I'm giving it to Ozona this week.
All right,
I'm gonna give it to Ozona.
Grape Creek, you can't let me down. I promise. I have a hat that says Creek across of it. Y'all were one of the first ones that ever showed me love when I started covering sports down here, and so I gotta rock with you this week. I gotta say that. Come on, Eagles. You could get your very first win. I believe in you. We believe in you. At least 5 of us do. Or 6 of us do. I know James might not, but I believe in you, I promise. So come on, Grape Creek, get the win, go down to Ozona, handle your business, and go out of there 1-3. James.
Hey, I respect Tanner Thiel. I have nothing but respect for him. He talks to me when I call him, so I have nothing but good things to say about him. And again, these are pre-district games, so this is, if you're going to lose early and then win in district.
Well, you got to think about it, though. We are at week 4 for some teams. This is the last week of pre-district, so there's some teams like Miles, Sterling, the Sterling City District. They got that 6-man district. If you have a 6-team district, playoffs is starting. District is starting. So we got to keep an eye on that. People got to kind of find their identity now, because if they don't find it now and district starts, then they may be just too far gone.
Hey man, it's a one-play thing. One play can spark your season. You have one good play, and that just stack good days on good days, and then all of a sudden, hey, you're winning games, and you're in district, and you're winning games, and then you win the playoffs. So,
all right, I know everyone's waiting for the one last game that we haven't talked about yet, and don't worry, we're going to get to the Angry Orange and the Central Bobcats.
And there might be another game people care about too.
But first, let's go ahead and hit a quick word from Team and Investments.
I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to help students maximize their potential. It's something that I'm good at. But planning for my financial freedom, that's something I leave for a professional.
That's why I chose to team up with the advisors at Team and Investments.
They not only understand me and my goals, but they understand the market, what's important now and in the future. They provided world-class advice, right where I am, here in West Texas.
Connect with Team and Investments to visualize your financial dreams.
Team and Investment, you got to visualize your financial dreams if you want to grab it. Don't ever forget that. James, if you're going to visualize your dream about this next game, what are you thinking about these Central Bobcats?
I'm hoping the Central Bobcats come out hot this week. The last few weeks, they've gotten into shootouts. They've gotten into getting behind in the first quarter, then having to score all these points and win. I'm hoping they can flip that around and go out and score a lot of points and control the game and win at the end. It's frustrating watching them sometimes. It kind of is. As a fan, it's frustrating.
Man, at the end of the last show, if y'all go back and y'all watch the post-game show, man, I was hot, and I kind of reamed that Bobcat team because, honestly, it was bad to watch. It was a team that they should have, beaten by a lot. It's multiple weeks in a row. It's teams that they should handily beat, and instead they want to play this shootout game, and it's just like... It's like basketball. I'm trying to watch football. It's more like basketball. We gotta hopefully, some things that Coach Crane did this week was tighten up that defense because open field tackling, missed assignments in the secondary. Those kind of things are killing the Bobcats. There's been times in the past where we say the Bobcats have it all figured out. Usually, boom, penalties kill the Bobcats. This year, you can't really say that so far. This year, it's just been about the Bobcats killing the Bobcats. So hopefully they can figure this thing up in a hurry because district's starting in 2 weeks. So we're going to have to figure it out. Is their identity a bad defense or is it fixable? James, is it fixable?
I think you can fix anything. They really need to focus on running the ball. Tyler Hill is a dual threat as much as a dual threat can be. He's got 537 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he's got almost 300 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. It's 866 yards, 7 touchdowns. They seem to be able to run the ball very well, and then when they need to pass it, they got Jacob English, they've got Tyler Walker out there who's catching the ball, and their points, 4 points, they're separated by 7 points there. That's how it's frustrating watching them play, and they get down, and then they can't ever seem to catch back up. And if you really look at their entire season, the Shoemaker, Montwood, Cooper, these are all games that are 7 points apart almost, and it's maddening watching them. And even though I don't have a dog in the fight, and when I talk to coaches through the week, I bring up other teams, and we're just discussing football. It drives you crazy as a coach too. It drives coaches crazy too, because it seems like, well, maybe we can fix this, and then surely they get it figured out. So,
well, if you look at the stats, James, points for the Central Bobcats, 114. Points against, 121.
Now 7 points separate those.
7 points. I mean, it's right there, and it's every week. It's like right there. It's either overtime or last possession. And if you want to have a sustainable season, I said it last week, if you want to have a championship season or a playoff season even, if you want to not get dead last in district, then you have to quit playing the last second ball games. You have to play defense. You have to trust in your defense. You have to slow down a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to score 50 points. But when you score 50 and they score 52, you lose.
Yeah, no, that's true, and you I'm not saying you have to go super conservative and run the ball every play.
No, don't be the Wall Hawks.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
But play a little defense.
Play some defense and play offense well in the first half, and go put up 31 points in the first half, because you can do it in the second half.
Yep, exactly.
So go do it in the first half and go get yourself a win.
I'm in. All right, James, let's go ahead and go for the picks. It rarely happens, guys, but this week it did. Me and James are on the same page. I think it's because we're sick and tired of watching the dang, just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking every week. It's like, we're going to win. No, we're not.
Yeah.
That's why I went, and it had nothing to do with the fact that Belton is a really good ball club. It had nothing to do with, big school, a big town coming to St. Anthony. No, that's nothing about that. It is strictly the fact that I have zero faith in the Bobcats defense. I have zero faith in the luck of the Irish of the Bobcats that they can go and win by 2 points with 2 seconds left. It's very tough, but I decided to go ahead and go with the Belton Panthers.
Yeah, my heart was broken Sunday night irreparably. So I know what heartbreak is. And I put these stats in here, Matt, for Belton, and we haven't even talked about Belton's stats, because it's like Central can get it done. Central can win if they just go out and play well in the first half. That's all I'm asking.
It's always.
I want to be wrong, and I want to be wrong here. I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I haven't seen it yet.
All right. Well, James, this has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. Of course, things can always go crazy. We can always say some crazy stuff. So most of the time, like I said, we're wrong. So hopefully tonight we're wrong about those Bobcats. James, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the chance. Do you have any other games that you would like to bring up before we say goodbye?
There are a few games we got to bring up. We got Forsan McCamey. Forsan's in Cristoval's district. McCamey's in El Dorado's district. That's going to be a really good game. They're both 3-0. El Dorado, speaking of, El Dorado's playing San Saba. That's going to be a defensive game against their running game. San Saba really didn't have a passing game this year. They have 3 really good running backs, and they're running into a really good defensive line there in El Dorado. Sterling City, I talked to Trey Cisco this week. They're playing Roscoe. He's real proud of his fullback and running backs. He's hoping that the offensive line, they can get it done this week. And Wall, Pester, I talked to Coach Guy. They never played Pester before, and if you haven't left to get to Pester, you're not going to make it in time for kickoff, because it's 3.5 hours away.
Well,
and then
watch it here, I promise.
you can watch it here. Well, we'll have score updates and breakdowns of that one. And another one, last night, the Lakeview Chiefs played Lubbock, and they won 35-21.
Yeah, we cannot forget to throw a little shout out for the Lakeview Chiefs.
Not that we ever forget.
Oh, no, because we want to bring those highlights every week, but sometimes when they're out of town, it's Thursday. We don't really get those, but we want to say congrats to the Chiefs. They now move to 3-1. Next week, though, they got a tough one against my alma mater, Levelland, so be ready to have that one. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, they had like 300 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns. They had an interception. They have 8 total interceptions. They're playing really good defense. They're running the ball very well. And, they've...
Could be a new year for the Lakeview Chiefs.
It can be. I wrote the article last week about them going 3-0 when they played Vernon, and it was homecoming, a lot going on, and they ended up dropping that game. And then they went off and beat Lubbock, and congratulations, you're 3-1. Go get 4-1.
All right, James. Remember, guys, this is the pregame show. This is where we're going to give you all the picks. We're going to give you all our analysis of what we think is going to happen. This is where you can cut it and clip it and tell us how wrong we were if you want to. But this will be every Friday at 4 p.m. This is brought to you by Team Investments. Also, this is brought to you by All American Chevrolet and the Autoplex, as well as Angelo Bolt and Double Dave's Pizza. So we want to thank you guys for watching. James, is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, man. I'll see y'all at halftime.
All right. We will see you guys at halftime.